The 458th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start making smarter bets today.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 458 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. This episode is going out to Wobbly Rooster, obviously, one of our friends on YouTube who put a funny comment down for us. So this goes out to you, Wobbly Rooster. I'm guessing you are a he because according to YouTube, 100% of our viewers are he's or identify as he's. So more than likely, who I'm speaking to right now on the podcast feed is a he as well. So welcome. Hopefully some of you are making your significant others listen in as well. Thanks for coming to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff Chalks Fox. It's episode 458 on our rush, our march. We'll say not a rush. We're not a rush. A march to episode 500. We'll get there very soon enough. And then we'll have a big party at Gumby's house like we always do when we hit a milestone event, because Gumby is Mr. Sociable, Mr. People. He's a people person. He can tell us all about all the fun he had on Thanksgiving when we bring him in now. It's Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
Yeah, I'm not a social person. I mean, I had fun because the Cowboys won by 35. So, you know, that's pretty much all I needed.
It's true. It's true. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, American Gumby?
Yes. American Gumby, as if there's a difference.
That's your new name, American Gumby. Yep.
American Gumby, the most Gumby.
There's got to be. There must be a Canadian Gumby. There's got to be one. So
I mean, probably there was a Utah Gumby. That was Jeremy Horn.
Really? Is that? Oh, you didn't give yourself your nickname, I hope, right? Because that's lame to give yourself your own nickname. Good. Okay.
No, I got that in the gym.
All right. Let's get this out of the way right off the top. Tell us about your hat.
Oh, that's actually funny now. Now that you mention it, it's funny that you called me American Gumby. This is a Australian baseball hat. This is from the Australian Blue Sox, or the Sydney Blue Sox in the Australian League.
Fantastic.
Which there's like a Blue Sox around it, like league, and they've got like a bear for a logo, which is real dumb. But this one is got like a living sock, which is way cooler.
Oh, fantastic. That is way cooler. I think our third most listeners are actually from Australia. So some people are going to know what you're talking about. Maybe that's their squad.
Shout out, Sydney.
Very cool. Shout out to Sydney. That's the casual Australian city that all us casuals know, though. So it's not just minor leagues for Gumby. Well, I guess that's technically a minor league team. It's not just U.S. minor league teams. Gumby is worldwide.
Maybe
worldwide
Ramirez
Gumby. There's another name for you.
Oh, for real?
Ramirez
played for these guys. Yeah. He is, like 46-year-old Manny or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Worldwide Gumby. That's your new name as well. All right. Do we want to recap how you did? I want to say but I'm not sure how you did, so I don't want to take credit for it until I hear if you did good with your picks on the weekend. Regional MMA picks.
Sure. Cage Warriors won to beat a bloodbath. We lost 2 fights. One.
No, you did. You lost.
Yeah. Well, one fight fell off the card due to a bad weight cut, and the other one fell off the card due to hydration issues. Dan Doyce made the weight and then tried to drink a whole bunch of water, and it just wouldn't stay in him, which I'm assuming means he puked it out. I don't want to think too hard about that. But
maybe he's full of holes. Did someone poke holes all through him and he just started spraying water all out of his body?
He just said he couldn't keep water in him, and I don't know what that means. So those 2 fights fell off, and then I whiffed in the 2 title fights, making me 1-2 overall, down a couple of units on Cage Warriors, but luckily we had a very good Friday. We went 9-2 in PFL with 1 fight falling off. That includes
did.
That includes 2 underdogs. Derek Brunson came through It was a buck 170 at the time when we got him, although he wound up being a favorite by fight time.
Yeah.
And then Renan Ferreira was plus 200 or right around plus 200. And he obviously knocked out Dennis Goltsov. So big night there. That one was up almost 5 units. So on the weekend total, it was about up 2.8, I believe it was, units, and a record of 10-4.
Fantastic. Good for us. Right?
Yeah.
Has Deutz ever had issues with that before?
I've never heard of it. Yeah, like he's had a couple of fights that he or his opponents have pulled out of. Like he had a weird long layoff coming into this one, and but it was like knee and back issues and shoulder issues and things like that. So I'd never seen any weight issues. He is a big guy for that weight class, but this doesn't sound like a. I mean, he didn't have trouble making weight. He made the weight. He had trouble putting it back on, which I don't know that I've ever heard of or really know how to diagnose.
You know what I'm setting up for here. He never had these issues before he talked to Gumby, and now he has. You give me a long, serious answer when really it was just a joke I was setting up. So thank you. I appreciate you.
He was on my podcast. But did you ask about the other guy who was on my podcast this week, Orlando Prince?
Oh yeah, he did good. I saw his sick finish.
Yeah,
it was going to be a submission, and then he ended up just like pounding the guy out.
Yeah, rear mounted reverse triangle with a little ground and pound elbow mixed in there. Yeah, he probably could have gotten the sub, but instead got a TKO. Yep. Yeah, it was an awesome finish for him. So it's not all the podcast.
It's not all bad luck. Today we're doing what everyone asked us to do, right? Well, no one asked us to do this, but we're doing it anyway. It's a quiet week for MMA other than the UFC, which we'll be covering Wednesday, Thursday. We're doing Lux Fight League 38, Gumby. Why are we doing Lux Fight League 38? I'm not questioning it. I'm just wondering why.
It's not a bad promotion, first of all. There's some decent fighters who have come out of it. I mean, that's where Diego Lopez came out of. So like they've occasionally got big name fighters. It's now on Fight Pass, so it's easy to watch. So like there's a lot of reasons to like it. Some of those offshore books that we sometimes find odds on usually post odds for Lux. So in a slow week, you could do a lot worse than Lux Fight League.
He answered all my questions. It's going to be a quick podcast. I was going to ask him where we can see it and where we can bet it. We're not going to say where we can bet it, but he alluded to already where you can bet it if you're so inclined. So yeah, fine with me. It is a Mexican-based promotion, right?
Correct. Yep.
All right. Any other alum that we should know of other than Diego Lopez that you can think of off the top of your head?
I want to say Irene Aldana fought there, but I can't necessarily remember. It's just like a hot spot for a lot of like Mexican prospects. So like, I mean, if you told me that Yair Rodriguez had like a fight there in the early part of his career, I'd believe you too. Like it's just a place where a lot of people from that part of the world have come through.
Now I have to look that up.
I know, and if I'm right, I'm gonna feel real good about it.
Nothing came up for Lux for Yair Rodriguez, so I will not tell you, and you will not. Well, if I told you, you'd believe it though, so I should just say yes, even though it's not true. Irene Aldana, no. So you're 0 for 2, Gumby.
All right, I'm gonna look up for. How are you looking this up? Are you just writing their names and then the name of the organization? Like that was a quick. That's not a good way.
The intern is fast. The intern is very fast.
I don't know.
The intern types in their name. The intern puts their name in Wikipedia, and then the intern puts Control F, and then the intern types in Lux.
That's better. I thought you were just Googling like Lux Yair Rodriguez.
No. This is my first rodeo, Gumby. I've searched Lux Fight. I'm not sure if I have searched. I know the Fight League, Lux Fight League. I don't know if I've searched it before. So, all right, we're gonna crack into it, right? We're gonna crack into it. We're gonna watch it on Fight Pass. We're gonna make money off it. All will be merry. It's happening in December, which seems like far away, but it's this Friday, Gumby, already.
Yeah. It's snuck up on us.
'Tis the holiday season. All right, before anything else sneaks up on us, let me tell you about Bet365. We're brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is the world's favorite sports book, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Prop sides, totals, live betting, Bet365 has you covered. And if you like boosts, you're going to love Bet365, like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same-game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer if your team goes up 17 points. Sign up today and choose from 2 bonus offers, either $1,000 no sweat bet, or bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, or use the sign up link in our show bio. Even easier. Gumby, do you have a pick, a bet for any sport for us?
Well, if you're getting this before Sunday night, I just wrote an article using some Bet365 odds on some first bucket props that I like. And I got a good feeling about the Raptors today getting the first bucket. I went with Dennis Schroeder, and he's 10-1. So, dabble with that.
Are you still up money on the first field goal, or should I not ask that question?
I am still up. 10 units
Fantastic.
on November. 10 units on November.
Not too shabby. Not many people are going to blow their nose at 10 units, especially Gumby. His unit is very, very big, as we've talked about before. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get into this Lux Fight League 38. And you say it is on Fight Pass now. It's not listed at Tapology on Fight Pass, but you can confirm it is on the Mighty Fight Pass.
Their last event was on Fight Pass, so I want to say that they're still on Fight Pass, but now you got me second guessing. They're usually on Fight Pass.
Okay, we'll say yes. On the poster it says Fight Pass, so we are good. Lux Fight League, Friday, December the 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going down in the Show Center complex in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico. Gumby, how is the Show Center complex? Let us know about it.
I've never been.
Haven't been there? You haven't taken the whole family down to Monterey to watch fights?
I have not. Nope.
No? Well, that's on the bucket list still. All right. We got 12 fights. We're going to do the top 5 fights on the card. How many of these, before we jump in, how many of these fighters did you know heading in? How many did you have to do lots of research on? We're talking about 10 fighters we're going to be covering.
I had heard, let me look at the 10 we're breaking down. I had heard of maybe 5 or 6 of them. I had seen 2 or 3 of them. And then the rest I had to do I did research on them all, but pretty extensive research on 2 or 3.
What does that entail? Extensive research, quickly.
Digging up whatever fight of theirs exists on the interweb somewhere, because some of these guys fought for some promotions, let me tell you.
Yep. All right. We are going to start off with a female fight, women's strawweights. Hannah Ramos for Mexico versus Danae Solangel. Do you know how to say her first name?
It's Danae Solangel.
It really is Solangel? That's very American how you said that.
Yeah, or Soul and Hell. But yeah.
Yes.
It looks.
She is. Oh, sorry. These fights do not have any odds anywhere yet, correct? Amundo?
Correct.
Okay. All right. We'll start with the Soul in Hell, or the Soul in Heaven, the Soul Angel. She's 3-0 with 3 submissions. Used to fight down at atom weight, an inch of height, 2 inches of reach on Ramos. 4-3, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. So she's finished everyone. These ladies owe us some time in
rounds.
The cage,
they owe us rounds.
They owe us rounds. See, I forgot. I haven't said it in so long. I forgot. They owe us rounds. These two definitely owe us rounds. This is the epitome of owe us rounds. Ramos has been submitted 1 time, 2-3 in Lux Fight League. She's won 1 of her last 3 and 4 of her last 6. That sounds better. Lost her last fight via submission, and that is all I got. Gumby, fill in the blanks.
So Soul on Hell will be probably a pretty big favorite here. I'm thinking like -200, maybe -225. You'll get about $180 probably on the return on Ramos. And I'm gonna take Hannah Ramos here. Her record is way worse. Her level of competition is way better. And then the other thing you'll notice about Ramos is she kind of she wades in, she throws really wild, and she's got pretty good wrestling. In the fight you mentioned that she had lost by submission, she kind of dominated that fight in every regard. She threw a bunch of haymakers, got in on takedowns, took the woman down. She wound up defending a couple of arm bars really well, working at the back really well. And then just on a reset in the 3rd round, she shot another takedown, got caught in a guillotine. It was kind of fluky, to be honest with you. And if she had just ridden that round out, she was clearly on her way to winning that fight. And she's got that style. So, as long as she stays away from submissions, she should be good. And, you mentioned Soul on Hell has won all of her fights. She's looked really good doing it. But the fact of the matter is if you look at all of her takedowns, she does that head and arm throw that I'm coming to hate in women's MMA now that it's not working for Montserrat Conejo anymore. she goes for that head and arm throw. She winds up almost giving up her back. She hasn't given up her back in a lot of fights, mostly because she's fighting a lower level of competition. But I think Ramos has showed us that she can deal with that level of submission skills and that level of takedown. So I like Ramos to like sort of either defend those takedowns straight up and wind up being better on the feet, or I like her to ride out a lot of the fight on top and just avoid the submissions, because I think Solangel is used to fighters who are a lot worse than her.
Yeah, what is with this head and arm throw? Is it because women's MMA is newer than men's MMA and they still have some older techniques? What's the deal with that, Gumby?
Could it possibly be the Ronda Rousey
Oh, that's true.
I mean, like Ronda Rousey, like that's I mean, she did it to everybody. You know,
Yep.
she started. I mean, she didn't start women's MMA. Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I know it happened before. I mean, she gave birth to what we consider now modern women's MMA, right?
No,
like
I meant the idiot line. I was going to add about the idiot line. But
okay. I mean, I can talk to you about women's MMA in like the early '90s if you want.
He can.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about.
We'll do a spin-off podcast on that for sure. That'll be a big.
We'll talk about Roxanne Modafferi versus Jennifer Howe 1 and 2 if you want. Those are sick fights. But that being said, yeah, like I think Ronda Rousey just being, you know, sort of the person who influenced so many of these younger women's fighters.
Yep.
And she used that head and arm throw. And I think now that there's enough women who like came up being like, well, this is one where you can sort of use their body weight against them. You don't have to be big, strong, and muscly, or you don't need to come from a wrestling base to hit it. So it's a good way for jiu-jitsu women to get the fight to the ground.
Very good. Gumby, he's so smart, isn't he? Don't you guys love him? He has an answer. Everything I throw at him, he has an answer, which is great. Even ridiculous things, he'll have an answer. All right. Even Lux Fight League, something is ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. It seems to be a quality fight league. We're going to move on to the next fight. It's Mexico versus Argentina. And it is men's flyweight, 3 5-minute rounds. Alexandro Bravo, the Mexican, versus David Perez, the Argentinian. And we will start off with the visitor Perez. El Tigre, that's easy. We know what that means. The Tiger, Gumby.
It does.
Yes. El Tigre is 5-2, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 0-1 in Lux Fight League, 3-1 over his last 4. Got TKO'd in his last fight. Was a regional champion. Used to fight up at bantamweight, and he's 2-1 as a pro kickboxer. So the Tiger is fighting the Jaguar. Bravo's nickname is Jaguar. He's 4-0, with 1 knockout. All of those fights have happened in Lux Fight League, and he used to fight at bantamweight as well. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Jaguar here. I like Bravo. I think he's going to be a big favorite, though. If these odds do post and he's down, I mean, if he's in the 200s, maybe he's good parlay fuel. If he's under that, I mean, he's like an absolutely juice that lineup kind of guy. But he's probably going to be like negative 300. And the reason just being is that, like, Perez got dropped by a pretty simple 1-2. He has nice combinations himself, but he's just very hittable. He's also very controllable is the issue. Like, if you watch his last fight, he was up against a guy not particularly good, and he spent the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes just with his back pressed against the cage and no idea how to get out of there. And Bravo, I don't love his wrestling defense. Like, I think his wrestling defense could use a lot of work. But the fact of the matter is his wrestling offense is actually pretty good. So I think between that and the fact that he's got, like, I mean, he throws like a loopy overhand left. That's not terrible. So he's got some pieces on the feet, but it's mostly just like a means to get to the wrestling. And I think Perez doesn't have the wrestling defense to stop it. Even if he does stop the wrestling, I think he's just going to be pressed up against the cage too much. And in his last fight, it's worth noting, Perez straight up quit in the 3rd round. He had a broken nose that attributed to some of the cardio issues. But like, as soon as he was tired or couldn't breathe as well as he was just looking for a way out. So like, I think Perez here is going to wind up being overly tired at the aggressive wrestler Bravo.
All right. So there is your pick. He's gone chalky again. All right. Not again. He's gone chalky. And first one, well, we were guessing at these odds, or Gumby's guessing at these odds. So maybe they're all underdogs and we'll be pleasantly surprised. All right. Let's move up a weight class. We're staying on the men's side. We're going to men's bantamweight. Luis Rey Gallegos from Mexico versus the fellow Mexican fighter David Mendoza. All right, Mendoza. Leon is the nickname, which obviously means
Lion.
Correct. He is 8-3, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted 3 times, so that is his issue, getting submitted. All his fights have taken place in Lux, so he's 8-3 in Lux Fight League. He's won 3 of his last 4, including his last fight. 8 years younger than Gallegos. Gallegos is Corazon de Leon, which means
Lionheart.
yes, a couple of Leons going up against each other. Very interesting. He is 8-7, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 4-6 in Lux Fight League. 1-2 over his last 3. 2-3 over his last 5. 3-7 over his last 10. He did lose his last fight. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Mendoza all the way.
Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza. Probably again like a negative 275 favorite here, but Gallegos. The way Gallegos boxes, do you know that meme that people put up of Sean Strickland with his hands like on his chest like this?
No, but I know what you mean. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Gallegos just like boxes like that all the time. Like his hands are just not protecting his face. It looks like he's worried about getting punched in the sternum. And like that's not going to help you. And it looks sort of like because he's interested in wrestling. One of the fights I watched of him, he got in on like I want to say 7 single leg attempts, and he didn't finish a damn one of them. It looks like he's really good at getting in on them. And then he has no idea what to do once he's got him. And Mendoza is just like infinitely a better wrestler. Like he boxes, again, maybe not the most impressive way to box. He's got his hands down and out, sort of because he throws from the hips. But he's really explosive when he does throw from the hips, and he's explosive when he wrestles. He's just one of those fighters who is able to let go a little bit better. And like he pushes through his takedown attempts. He's got more diverse takedown attempts. I've seen trips out of him, singles and doubles. Whereas like with Gallegos, it's just like, can he get in on a single? Can he actually finish that single? And the answer is usually yes to the first and no to the second. So I'll take Mendoza here. I think he gets it done. Might be chalky back to back here, but I think it's worth it.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to get punched in the sternum either. So, would you? No. Maybe I guess it's better than in the face, but still,
I'm gonna pass on it all. Actually,
it's true. That's why Gumby does the gentle art of jiu-jitsu, right?
That's correct. Yeah, no face punching.
All right, no face punching. That's why he's the pretty one on the podcast. All right. We're going to go to Underdog Fantasy now. Are we not? Let's look at the screen. Is it Underdog? There it is. Underdog Fantasy on our YouTube channel. Yes, we do have a YouTube channel. In case people think we're just talking to each other about seeing each other. No, you can see us on YouTube as well. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football, and MMA. If people on YouTube can see, there's some MMA picks right there. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Gumby, I'm putting you on the spot again. I think you saw this coming. Make us a pick.
I'll take if you're watching Sunday Night Football or you're listening to this before Sunday Night Football. I saw one of the Scorchers because they got Pick'em Scorchers still going nice and hot. One of the Scorchers is Lamar Jackson, 1 rushing touchdown or over, or rather higher than 0.5 rushing touchdowns. I'll take him on that.
He's a American football quarterback.
He is, yeah. Did you Google that?
No, that I wanted to say it like I'm on Wikipedia. And he plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the only football team. It's the only football team named after a literary figure. Did you know that?
Oh, really? Quote the Raven nevermore.
Yeah, so he's from Baltimore.
Yep. All right. Watch along. Watch Lamar Jackson. Make your picks and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit of up to $100. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. And we are brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. No longer limes. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we're going to keep the winning picks going with the co-main event of the evening will be Kike Gonzalez from Mexico versus another fellow Mexican fighter, Emilo Cuellar. Cuellar. It's probably Cuellar. Am I right?
Cuellar.
So I am right then?
just slightly off.
I nailed it. Cuellar. All right. These are flyweights. And I obviously know a lot about Cuellar, so I'm going to tell you about him. Show Kid is the nickname. That's much easier to say. 8-3. 4 knockouts, 1 submission, never been finished in a fight. 4-2 in Lux Fight League. 1-2 over his last 3. 4-2 over his last 6. Won his last fight via TKO. Used to fight up at bantamweight and even farther up at featherweight. He's a year younger than Gonzalez. Gonzalez El Locote, which means
Locote.
Locote.
I don't know that one. The Lock?
The Crazy is what it translates as.
Yes. The Crazy.
Look out. Stay away from this guy. He's 10-3, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 2-1 in Lux Fight League, 3-1 over his last 4, including losing his last fight via TKO. That was back in November 2021. He's been on the shelf for a while, being crazy, supposedly. I would guess. Has not won since July of 2020, 2013 pro MMA debut. So the Crazy versus the Show Kid. Go ahead.
So Gonzalez here, I think, is going to be a favorite. Probably not as big as the last couple. Let's say -165. I'm going to go with Gonzalez. You mentioned the last fight losing by TKO. That was against Alexandro Costa.
I know him.
Yeah. Now, hey, there you go. There's a Lux veteran, Alexandro Costa. You were asking for him. Now I got you one. Yeah, he lost to Alexandro Costa in his last fight. And I was really impressed with Kike in that fight. First of all, he could scramble with Alexandro Costa, which, as we've now seen in the UFC, not terribly easy to do. Alexandro Costa scrambled well with Amir Albazi in his debut on short notice. So for Kike to have scrambled with him and come out well in some positions, I already think he has the wrestling advantage over Cuellar. Now, in addition to that, Cuellar does have a little bit of power. I think you do have to worry about that. That's why the line, I'm guessing, is going to be a little closer than those last two. And Kike really winds up on his shots. So I think Cuellar is going to be a slightly better striker fundamentally than Kike. But the problem is he's not a better defensive striker than Kike. Like, he just is kind of there to be hit. He's willing to trade a 1-2 and then eat something on the way back because he doesn't get out of range quick enough. And with Kike, when he winds way up, he's got a lot of power. So my guess here is, first of all, Kike just needs to rest. Like, if Kike puts his back, Cuellar's back on the mat, he's going to win this fight pretty easily. But even if he doesn't, I think Cuellar is going to find some success on the feet, probably find himself too comfy, and then just eat some really big shots on the return from Gonzalez. Even if this winds up going to decision, it wouldn't terribly surprise me to see it be one of those decisions where, like, Cuellar outstrikes him like 100-70, but like the strikes from Kike are just like, they're the impactful ones and the ones the judges remember, and Kike takes the decision. So I think there's more ways for Kike to win. I think as long as he's down in the 100s, mid to low 100s, I think he's definitely playable here too.
How do you know it was Cuellar? How do you know how to pronounce these people's names? Do you rely on broadcasts?
A little bit on broadcast, but also double L's in Spanish, which shout out my Spanish 9. I took it in 9th grade. My 9th grade Spanish teacher, Angel Ramirez. Shout out to that guy because he taught me how to say double L's.
It wasn't that long ago, grade 9 for Gumby, so he can remember. He can remember grade 9. It was not so long ago for him. All right, how do you say these names? Let's figure out. We got a belt on the line here. LFA Bantamweight Championship, 5-minute rounds at 135 pounds. Jose, is it Roura? Hoiha?
I don't think you turn it to an H unless he's Brazilian, and he's Mexican,
maybe
right?
he is. Yes. So what is it? Jose Roura?
I think it's just Roura.
Okay. He's fighting Juan Diaz, Mexico versus Argentina. I didn't hear how you said how to pronounce his name either because it cut out. So. But we'll see. We'll see how I say it when I get to him. All right, Diaz. Pegajoso is the nickname. Pegajoso. All one word. Do you know what that means?
Is that it's like stick? Is it sticky?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at you. Clingy or sticky. How did you get that, Gumby?
There you go.
How did you get that?
Shout out Angel.
Amazing. All right. I'm sure Angel is listening and or watching now. All of everyone in Gumby's life follows our podcast. All right, Mr. Sticky is 10-1-1, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's never been finishing a fight, so he's got a very good record. He owes us some finishes, getting finished. 2-0 in Lux. He's won 3 straight fights. Last one via submission. He's not lost since October 2021. He's 10 years younger than the champion. How do you say the champ's name? Don't cut out this time.
Roura.
Roura, that's not even exciting. It's boring. Roura is it kind of sounds like Scooby-Doo is saying it, don't you think?
Sure.
Are you not a Scooby-Doo fan?
I wasn't really. Like it just was like there wasn't like a great version of it in my youth.
Oh. How about your children? Do they enjoy Scooby-Doo?
Nah, I don't think they've crossed its path. There's too many new cartoons, Matt. They're big Batman kids.
Okay, I was going to ask you if they're allowed to watch TV. Luckily, they are, so that's good. You don't want weirdos. You don't want to raise a couple of weirdos that don't know anything about TV, right?
Is that a shot at me?
No, oh, that's right. You were the weirdo that didn't know about TV. Grew up on a mountain and was homeschooled. Look at you now.
Yeah, look at this.
You're wearing Australian baseball hats with animated socks on it. So, talking to some weird guy with a big yucky beard. All right, let's get back to Roura, shall we? Old school fans of the podcast know that's what our podcast used to only be. Us going off on side tangents, and I don't know what we were supposed to talk about, but we're talking about Roy right here. 7-3, 1 knockout, 3 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 6-2 in Lux Fight League. He won his title last fight. He hasn't been, well, I guess this is a form of consistency. Loss win over his last 4 fights. So it's not like he's stringing together a massive streak to get to the championship or anything like that. All right, break it down.
I think Diaz is going to be the big favorite here. Let's say -225. We'll get +200 on Roura. I'm going to go dog to close it out here. And the reason why is Diaz, to me, just looks incredibly unsure on his feet. There's not necessarily anything that looks really bad, but it takes him so long to commit to combinations, strikes. There's just not like a lot of forward movement. Until he's ready to grapple. Then he's trying to bulldoze positions to the best of his ability and trying to he's not great at takedowns, but he's just like one of those people who's just trying to muscle everything. And Roura, I think, is a really bad matchup for him in 2 ways. Number one, I think he can defend a takedown here, especially like sloppy muscled ones. And then number 2, he cuts angles really well. It's perhaps the thing Roura does best is that he controls the center of the cage, and he doesn't chase after people. He cuts them off and forces them into exchanges. So if Diaz is really unsure of his striking and just trying to back up until he finds something he likes, I think he's just going to wind up cornered for most of this fight, and Roura is just going to tee off on him. So I like Roura here. I'm a little worried he might gas with his pacing and with Diaz's bulldoze wrestling attempts, but I don't know that Diaz's cardio is any better. So I'll ride with the dog money here as long as it is dog money on Roura.
All right. What did you predict it was going to be? I think you cut out at that point.
+200.
All right. +200. What's the range you would bet Roura at?
I think as long as he's plus. Okay. I think the fight it's got enough questions that I don't like him as a favorite. But as a dog, I think he's got a lot of promise.
All right. Let's recap the picks. He's got Roura. He has got Gonzalez. He has got I didn't mark down some of your picks. All right. Let me see if I can remember here. He's got Mendoza, right?
You got it. Oh, I was giving you a thumbs up, but I forget you're never looking at me.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm looking at my spreadsheet. And he's got Bravo.
Bingo. Look at that.
And he's got Ramos.
Yes.
Maybe I paid attention today. Maybe I did. Maybe I'll make some winning picks this weekend like everyone else will when this drops. If Gumby has to call any audibles or he has anything else that any other thoughts on this once the lines drop, get in the Discord and you shall see them in there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Twitter, we're on there as well as Twitter goes down the drain, I think, but it hasn't totally been fleshed yet. We're at SGPN MMA. Gumby, Vreeland, and Jeff Fox Writer. I'm that on Instagram as well. Get in my Substack. The pick'em contests are running again this week because UFC is back. So free pick'em, and then all my other writings and unique rankings I do of fighters and stuff like that is at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has the Top Turtle MMA podcast. May be cursed, may not be cursed. People who, let me think of what's happened to people. Brian Barberina's insides have exploded after he talked to Gumby. It's true. Now Deutz has tiny holes all through his body. When he drinks, water goes spewing out of him in various ways. So who knows? It could be cursed, could not. Who do we know who's getting cursed this week on your podcast?
Yeah, I'm talking to the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia,
Yes.
as well as the headliner for Fury FC, Arian Young.
Wow, we should talk about Furry. Furry would be totally different. Fury. We should talk about Fury sometime soon, don't you think?
How about tomorrow?
Oh, everybody come back tomorrow. Gumby's going to talk about Fury FC, the upstart. I guess they're kind of an upstart, the up and coming, the exciting league out of Texas.
They got 84 events so far.
Yeah, I know, but it seems now that they're kind of coming into the forefront.
Yeah, they're finding their footing. Yeah, for sure.
They are. Because Sunday afternoon, that's the time to do fights because there's nothing there's football on. Some people like football. Did I hype? Oh, obviously the mothership. Go to the mothership for all things sports gambling, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, and get on our Patreon and help us crush corporate gambling, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We'll be back tomorrow with Fury, not Furry FC. It will be me, the show kid, Jeff Fox, and Corazon de Leon, Gumby Vreeland will be with me as well. Or Pegajoso. That would be a good name for Gumby as well. That fits perfectly. All right, bye.